Tonight on Duck TV News, how drag queens have handled the pandemic, one industry that's seen a positive impact from COVID, and an update on the Mackenzie community since the Holiday Farm fire. All that and more coming up. Good evening and welcome back to Duck TV News. I'm Alejandra Amendola.
And I'm Izzy LaRue. Let's take a look at tonight's top stories.
Drag shows in Eugene have been significantly affected due to the pandemic. Lily Fieldheim has the story.
On a Friday or Saturday night before the pandemic, drag shows drew in large crowds. However, as the world has moved online during COVID-19, many drag queens have been producing creative content on YouTube instead of performing in person. Slatacia, who hasn't performed in a year, has been perfecting her craft by posting videos on YouTube. Her channel has over 900 subscribers.
COVID's really slowed down a lot of us to really analyze where to go next, and I think we're going to see a ton of great art moving forward, so I'm excited for it.
Many drag queens rely on their live performances in clubs and bars for income.
It's important for queens to show their lips in performances, which is why some have been performing with face shields and not with masks like these.
Other queens have postponed their shows until the pandemic is under control. Because queens typically make between $100 and $300 in a show, not having this source of income has been stressful for many, like Melina.
It becomes scary because, especially for someone that values their self-worth on how popular they are as a drag queen, it got really like, oh God, what am I going to do? Especially for the money, because I like to shop.
Since March of 2020, Melina started a talk show that features queer performers from the West Coast. Reporting for Duck TV News, I'm Lily Feldheim.
Once clubs reopen, you can see drag shows locally at the Cowfish Dance Club and Spectrum.
The state of Oregon is putting a tax on stimulus checks in this year's state income tax returns. The checks will be taxed almost 9% according to the CARES Act revenue report. Taxpayers in a lower income bracket who don't have a federal tax liability won't be affected. For more information, you can visit the Oregon Department of Revenue at oregon.gov.
Some businesses have taken a hit during the coronavirus pandemic, but one industry is actually seeing a large increase in sales. According to data from the nonprofit organization People for Bikes, bicycle sales are up 65% compared to 2019. People for Bikes also showed 9% of adults surveyed said they rode a bike for the first time in a year because of the pandemic. Stay-at-home orders and COVID precautions have led people to become more inclined to exercise outdoors and take up new hobbies. The nonprofit Rails to Trails, which transforms unused railroads into bike paths, said they saw a 110% increase in ridership on those trails since last year. Students interested in biking can rent bicycles from the university's outdoor program on campus.
And now let's go to Hudson and Daniel at the sports desk.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another week of Duck TV Sports. I'm Hudson Willett.
And I'm Daniel Vigil, and let's get to it. The Oregon women's basketball team had a rough start to their weekend when they faced number 8 UCLA on the road with a final loss of 83-56. The Bruins secured their first sweep over the Ducks since the 2015-2016 season, while also gaining their fourth victory over a ranked opponent this year. The Ducks, on the other hand, are 0-6 this season against top 25 ranked teams. Luckily, the Ducks were able to bounce back with the win over USC, snapping their 3-game losing streak. The Ducks will finish the regular season at home against Oregon State on Sunday.
Oregon and Baylor's acrobatics and tumbling teams are two of the best in the nation, and the rivalry between them is nothing new. Reporter Sammy Domino has more.
Although Oregon's usual rivals stem from the Pac-12 Conference, Oregon acrobatics and tumbling have started their own rivalry with the Baylor Bears. For the last couple of years, Oregon has been neck and neck with Baylor, constantly shuffling between first and second in the National Collegiate Acrobatics and Tumbling Association rankings. The Bears have won 7 straight against the Ducks, including Oregon's narrow loss by 7 to Baylor in the 2019 NCATA National Championship.
Oregon and Baylor usually have the similar difficulty, and obviously technique is important in acro as well. And so Oregon and Baylor are known for going head-to-head on technique and difficulty.
Baylor University head coach Felicia Mulkey was the head coach at Oregon from 2009 to 2014. She has won all 9 NCATA titles, 4 at Oregon and 5 at Baylor since the sport began.
Which obviously, if a head coach leaves a team, there's that's obviously can start rivalries no matter what team it is. I will say, leading up to every championship, Oregon and Baylor is usually the last two at the end of the national championship.
With their 2020 season cut short, Oregon looks for redemption as they come into the 2021 season with Baylor ranked first and Oregon in second in the NCAA preseason poll. Oregon will face off against Baylor on March 6th and again on April 10th. For Duck TV Sports, I'm Sammy Domino.
Thanks, Sammy. I can't wait to see what happens between these two rivals this season. The Oregon Ducks acrobatics and tumbling team opened the 2021 season on Sunday with a victory over Arizona Christian in Matthew Knight Arena. The number 2 Ducks, led by their seniors, kept Arizona Christian in the rearview mirror from start to finish, winning the meet 277.53 to 252.79. Sophomore Carly Nowak performed a new tumbling pass skillfully after just learning the new routine in recent practices. The Ducks' next meet is on March 6th against rival and number 1 team in the country, Baylor, who was the team's only loss last season.
The Oregon women's volleyball team's matches against Utah, originally scheduled for last Thursday and Saturday, were canceled due to COVID-19 protocols within the Utah's program. Despite their shortened season, the Ducks have been on a 5-game win streak since their loss against UCLA on January 29th. Oregon's next match is scheduled against Colorado on February 26th and 28th. Quarterback Tyler Shuck is transferring to Texas Tech University. Shuck is heading to Tech as a grad transfer with 3 years of eligibility remaining. Texas Tech has had standout quarterbacks in recent years, with players like NFL star Patrick Mahomes being a recent grad. We hope Shuck has success in all of his ventures.
The Ducks men's basketball team extended its winning streak to 6 this week after taking down conference opponents Colorado and Utah. On Thursday, the Ducks inched out a 4-point victory over the Buffs, led by an 18-point performance by Chris Duarte, and timely scoring by Will Richardson, who put the final touches on by scoring 5 points in the final 61 seconds. On Saturday, the Ducks notched out a 3-point victory over the Utes, vaulted by a strong second half by Chris Duarte and LJ Figueroa, who shared a game-high 15 points. The Ducks will look to extend their winning streak to 7 against number 17 USC.
Lane Community College hosted the LCC Cross Country Invitational this past Friday. Oregon Stars redshirt senior Jack Urian and freshman Quincy Norman both finished in the top 2 with dominating performances for the 8,000-meter course, both hitting just under 25 minutes. Oregon Tech won the women's 5K title with Lane County finishing second and Bushnell in third. Oregon, however, did not enter a women's team for the Invitational.
The Oregon Ducks baseball team will open its season on Thursday at home, February 25th, against Seattle University to start a 4-game weekend series. The Ducks' scheduled opening series against Omaha was canceled last weekend due to COVID-19 protocol. The Ducks are looking forward to taking the field after having more than half of their 2020 season canceled last March. The Ducks will also start the season with second-year head coach Mark Wazowski. Wazowski was named head coach before last season coming over from Purdue University. He saw a promising start to his head coaching at Oregon by coaching designated hitter Kenyon Yovan and third baseman Aaron Zavala to All-American honors last season. Thank you for tuning in, and make sure to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Also check out our Duck TV Sports Show on Spotify.
Now back to Izzy and Alejandra on the news desk.
Thanks, guys. Next week on March 1st, Springfield City Council is deciding on a new member. They're replacing Sean Van Gordon, who is resigning to become Springfield's interim mayor. The council is looking for community input on candidates. Check out interviews and voice your opinion on the Springfield City website.
Residents in the McKenzie area are in need of volunteers as they attempt to rebuild after the devastating Holiday Farm fires from last September. The state is currently in their second phase for cleanup and assistance, pledging around $600 million towards an 18-month rehabilitation program. In the meantime, volunteers from around the state are pitching in their time to help clean up debris and provide essential services. Bruce Ebling, a volunteer, says the One Hope Christian Church group in Eugene is constructing sheds to protect victims' belongings.
We hope to make contact with people out here, like by building these sheds, and maybe establish a relationship with them, and then discover whatever other needs they may have and see if we can fill a gap in that.
With debris removal and community rebuilding, victims in the McKenzie fires will also have to face hazards created by the fire, such as increased likeliness for landslides, soil contamination, and the fire-damaged trees. If you'd like to help out, the Mackenzie River Trust is looking for volunteers on their page at mackenzieriver.org. That's a wrap on this week's episode. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Be sure to give us a follow on Instagram and Twitter at DuckTV News. Have a great night, Eugene.